Hello, hello. So I have created a 30 to 45-minute class for couples explaining the brain and brain reactions and how physiological some of these reactions are, because you can go to a talk therapy session, a couple session, and talk till you're blue in the faces or scream. But the change really happens when we're making shifts in the nervous system and we're using some skills. You can, check out John Gottman's work. It's complicated. Being a couple is so complicated right now, and we're at the front edge of some evolution. Do you know, if you think about our parents, they were really getting through the depression, or, maybe later than that if you're younger than I am, but there was more of a focus on survival, on, giving the kids the clothes they needed, and not so much on the emotional intelligence that they needed. And so we go into these, in couplehood, really having high expectations when our brain isn't really equipped. We're not prepared. So my class covers these things. First of all, how physiological rather than psychological, to have compassion for yourself and to learn how to self-regulate. We can't depend on our partner to do the right thing for us to feel better. While we are, in a positive way, codependent on one another to heal attachment issues, to heal what we didn't have. On the other hand, when we get dysregulated, the other partner can't really regulate us. So having skills to regulate ourselves or self-soothe ourselves is really important. And so much of this is based on the survival programming, early stuff on intergenerational trauma that we inherited. And on attachment. Attachment is what happened very early in life. And if we didn't get our needs met, then we're expecting our partners to meet our needs that should have been met a long time ago. So another thing I talk about is the vital half second that Louis Cozolino talks about. And that is, we have half a second to determine reality. It's based on our past experience, on cultural and internal biases, and on primitive emotional brain responses. So our brain is really programmed to be efficient, but not necessarily accurate. So if we are off track going into fight, flight, or freeze, which is located back here in the back part of the brain, then we're not going to necessarily see or hear our partners accurately. So what's happening in the brain is also a piece of this. I talk about the triune brain. I talk about the importance of doing physiological exercises that override our tendencies, our reactive tendencies. And, these stimulate the vagus nerve. It's a long nerve, and when we stimulate it and we have vagal tone, we're bringing on board the calming part of the nervous system, the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. And mindfulness is important too. It expands the medial prefrontal cortex and shrinks the amygdala, the fear center, but also it gives us the possibility to observe ourselves, to observe before we react. And that is a practice. It's just like going to the gym. You don't go once a month. If you do, you're not going to get much results. So you want to be practicing things daily to really make a change. And I'm speaking from experience. Oh boy. I talk about the nervous system, both the parasympathetic and sympathetic, and explain really the cycle of dysregulation and regulation and how we can regulate. I offer up some tools. So this is a wonderful class that I offer to couples. If you're interested, contact me. I did have one online that people could take. I'm revamping that and to put it out again. So once I do that, I'll put it down in the notes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Wishing you serenity, freedom, and joy, and peace in relationship.